Hey, welcome to this newsletter of Eat the Blocks. And this week there is quite a lot of content. I've released a lot of things, and also there are a lot of news about Open Zeppelin. So let's get into it. To receive all my newsletter by email, make sure to go to the website of Eat the Blocks, eattheblocks.com, and subscribe to the newsletter. I will send you an email every week. So first, the big news of this week is that I've released a 62 pages ebook called Learn Ethereum dApp, which is basically an ebook version of my series on how to build a to-do list on Ethereum. So it's a nicely formatted ebook available in PDF, Mobi, so you can put it on Kindle and EPUB. There will be some exclusive bonus chapters. So this is the landing page of the ebook. So you can buy it by credit card or with Ether. It's priced at $10. And there will be some exclusive update just for the ebook. So I will publish two extra bonus chapters, one where we will integrate React and another one where we will integrate Drizzle. This update will come in the next few weeks, so it's quite soon. Yeah, so it took me a lot of effort to do this ebook, so I hope that you guys will find it valuable. And I will keep it updated with the latest release of Solidity, Truffle, etc. Next, I published an article that reviews what are the best YouTube channels to learn Ethereum dApp development. So for each channel, I review the quality of the content, the quality of the video, so if the recording is good or not, and what's the frequency, because sometimes you have some great channel, but they publish some content for a couple of months and then they stop. So it's easy to get motivated to create a YouTube channel, and like for a few weeks you do something, but you know, like you'll reach a point where you're like, oh, this week I don't want to publish. So it's not always easy to keep motivated. So that's why it's so valuable to find channel who can do it. So of course, I reviewed my own channel, and the conclusion of the review is that I am the best channel. No kidding. No, I mean, yeah, of course I reviewed my channel, but not only, I also reviewed a lot of other channel. One that I like a lot, it's called What's Solidity, and there are many others where you can find a thorough review. I will also make a video just on that, so a video version of this article, but you can already check out the article on my blog. Then I've released another article explaining what are the new features of Solidity 5.0. So a couple of weeks ago, there was an announcement of the Solidity team explaining what were the upcoming features of Solidity. And in this announcement, the list of new features was quite long. So what I did in this article is I picked the most interesting and important feature that you should know. So if you want a condensed version of the release note, then check out this article. Next, we had an announcement of the Open Zeppelin 2.0 library. So Open Zeppelin is this open source library that is very used for smart contracts. So most of the most famous standards like ERC20 or ERC721, there are specifications, but the reference implementation in general, they are contained in the repository of Open Zeppelin. So it's better not to recreate your own implementation, but instead to take the one of Open Zeppelin. And so they've announced a new release, and one of the elements of this new release is a more stable API. So in the past, Open Zeppelin unfortunately tended to change its API a little bit too often. So now they stabilize this, and they have a new process to introduce new API. They've also introduced a system of granular permissions. So generally with OpenZeppelin smart contract, usually you have a pattern which is called ownable, where this is basically they have a modifier which is called ownable, where you assign an address that has some admin right on smart contract, and a lot of sensitive function use this modifier to restrict the access, but it can be a little bit too simplistic in some cases where you want to have different a level of access control. So that's what they're trying to do with this granular permission thing. A word of caution, this thing can get quite complicated quite quickly, so use granular permissions only if you really need it. Otherwise, you can just stick to ownable. It works for a lot of people. And also, one of the important piece of news for this release is that they've done a new audit. So smart contract audits are very important to make sure that smart contracts are safe, because otherwise we always have a risk that a smart contract will get hacked. And since we cannot update a smart contract, and since we deal with people's money, then it can get quite problematic quite quickly. So that's good to know that we use an open source library that has been audited. It gives a lot of confidence to users. Next, I find this tutorial on Medium, so how to build a crowd sale with OpenZeppelin. So basically, OpenZeppelin is great, but in its repo, it has many different versions for each standard, and it can be a little bit overwhelming to know which token I should take. Like for example, for ERC20, they have ERC20 basic, they have like standard token, there are like 5 or 6 different names. So with this tutorial, it will walk through all these different implementation, and you will know which one to use, and you will be able with very little code to do an ICO with ERC20 tokens using the OpenZeppelin library. Then I find a great tutorial also on Medium on how to create scalable dApps using a state channel. So this is a multi-step tutorial, and this is part 1, and part 2 is already written. You'll find the link at the end of the article. So state channel, basically they are off-chain scaling solution that allow dApp to be more scalable. So I will not detail exactly how it works, but it's basically that is one option to scale blockchain. That is an off-chain scaling solution. So some people might have some problem with this because there are some security consequences for this. But as of now, we don't yet have a main chain which is scalable. So state channel can be a viable solution. And there are very few tutorials on this topic, so that's why I think that this one is very valuable. Then there is this article on how to get started with the OpenZeppelin with the ETH-PM reusable smart contract package. So basically what this does is, this is a project to have a package manager for smart contract, basically. So you would use your command line and run a command to say, hey, install ERC20 token, and you will not have to copy manually the code from GitHub, but everything will happen automatically at the command line. So this is not a new project. Actually, ETH-PM was launched a while ago, but this is a new iteration of the project. So in this article, they're going to explain you what are the updates. The first half of the article is just about introducing package management in general, and I find it a little bit boring, so you can skip it until they start to actually talk of ETH-PMs. Yes, roughly the middle of the article. In the past, I've already tried ETH-PM and it was a little bit broken. So I hope that they fix things. This being said, I still have some reservation about ETH-PM because it will introduce a new package management system, but for Ethereum, we use a lot Node.js, and with Node.js, we already have the NPM and also the Yarn package manager, and this worked really well. And we already have a system where we can install smart contract with the command line using npm package and truffle. So I'm not really convinced that we need yet another package management system, and it will need to attract enough users so that the package are maintained and kept up to date. So to be honest, I'm a little bit skeptical of this initiative, but it's good to know that it's one of the interesting project at the moment. Oh, okay, I think I got mixed up in my link here. Okay, guys, sorry about this. Yeah, so I will update my newsletter, and basically this is the article that I wanted to introduce to you. So getting started with OpenZempling if, yeah. So this is a different kind of package manager. So they call this an EVM package. So this is a little bit more interesting than ESPM, because what it does basically, this is a package manager where you can use smart contracts that are already deployed. So it's not really something that you will use in development, because in development you will use a local testnet, and so by definition on a fresh local testnet, then you won't have anything deployed. But it's more like if you want to deploy in production or on a public testnet, and you want your smart contract to use a library, like a very standard library that is used by many smart contracts, and you don't want to have to deploy it yourself, then you can use an instance of this library that is already deployed, and that's what this smart contract is doing. This system, sorry, is doing. So it's quite original. Quite unique in the Ethereum system, and one of the benefits that it allows is it makes it easy to update your smart contract, because you can use a pattern with a proxy where you will use one of the deploy instance of their system. But in the future, if you want to update to a new version of the library that you use, then in your smart contract you will have a method that will allow you to do this. So this can be very interesting. For example, if people find some security vulnerability in, let's say, the ERC20 standard or something, if you actually deploy the whole library yourself, then your smart contract is deployed, and you kind of screw it. But if you use this pattern, actually you will have a very easy way to update your smart contract to use the new safe library. So I think that it is really, really interesting. Then I had this article on the user base of decentralized exchanges. So that's a very interesting and thoughtful article on who is using DEXs. So DEXs, decentralized exchanges. I'm sure you guys are aware of this, and I think this article is written by by the person who created DexWatch, which is a DEX explorer where you can compare some data about DEX. But this specific article deal with people trader. So for example, here you can see that most of the traders are just using one DEX, and very few are using more than one DEX. Then you have other interesting charts like this one, which compare the unique traders that are shared by DEXs. So you can see what is the loyalty of traders. And then another part of the article is also about the role of smart contracts. So it explains a little bit how decentralized exchanges use the DS proxy contract so that they can update the smart contract easily. So I didn't know that, so I learned quite a lot reading this article, so that was cool. And finally, last article is a handbook on Ethereum 2.0. So Ethereum 2.0 is the roadmap for the future of Ethereum. It is a collection of projects, which is basically sharding plus Casper. And the problem with all of this is it's not always easy to understand what's going on, because there are so many projects like right and left, and each with a different working group, and nobody is coordinating everything. So with this link, actually, you can find a centralized collection of different link to what is Ethereum 2.0 and what are the different sub projects. So it's a very good starting point if you want to get up to date with the latest state of Ethereum research, and what is worked on by the core Ethereum developer. If you enjoyed this newsletter, make sure to subscribe by going to edoblocks.com and putting your email here. And it's time for me to end this video. Thanks for watching, and see you for another video on Eat the Blocks. Bye.